Hello, everyone. Good morning. We're here for the first webinar on the webinar cycle on international market trends that surround upcycling and other trends that have to do with more resilient networks, which is the final goal of the Be Resilient project that is hosting this meeting today. I appreciate you all joining us today. And so we're going to start our webinar on international market trends. As I said before, this is a webinar hosted within the Be Resilient Network, and therefore it is funded by the European Union. The main goal of the Be Resilient project is to enhance the resilience of all supply chains within the food industry in order to be better prepared and equipped for further impacts alongside the different value chains. In this sense, this first webinar is going to be centered about international market trends. And therefore, the objective of this webinar is to provide valuable and current insights into the ongoing evolution of the trends that have to do with upcycling foods and products globally. For the most part, the information that is reflected here mainly responds to an analysis in the context of the new product activity and the consumer trends that are documented through the research within the Innova Market Research database. This database has a different array of analysts that are continually scanning products within launch and new product development, and therefore they have this insight within the companies, the industry press releases, news articles, and scientific publications, etc., to learn about innovative products and how they help to shape current trends. In this framework, today we're going to take a look into the international market trends, especially the upcycling movement. And then we're going to take a look at case studies within the latest innovations in this upcycling. So to start, we're going to delve into the international market trends that are within the upcycling movement. And so upcycling is a global trend that is rising and has been for the past few years. The current agri-food supply chain is being affected by a variety of problems like food loss, waste, generational supply chain, and therefore the circular economy offers a possibility to enhance and optimize both the production and the consumption to look for a new sustainable paradigm. And so the circular economy can be a winning approach to intervene and moderate these impacts that are generated in the agri-food sector. And so in this context, new market trends are emerging. And these upcycled products and this new market niche are growing, and they have some both drivers and restraints. So the increase in consumer awareness and their concern for the environmental sustainability have propelled demands for more eco-friendly and waste reduction food options. So this includes, of course, the upcycling of new food products. Taking into account the data from the Innova Market Insights top 10 trends, upcycling food or turning what would be waste by products from one product into something delicious and nutritious for people to consume have emerged as one of the hottest trends in food and beverage. However, we also have to take into account that while this is a trend, there's limited consumer awareness and there's a certain degree of skepticism about the upcycled products. So there are still changes and challenges in establishing a consistent supply chain, and so overcoming these regulatory hurdles and that may restrain this market expansion in some context. So this upcycling of products is a continuing trend, even though this does not make it explicitly as one of Innova's top trends for the year. This practice has been impacted into different single trends like redefining value, having new plant-based products, and have positively impacted trends. So what does this mean? As for the first one, which is redefining value, new brands, innovators, producers, and consumers are all wrestling with rising costs and greater instability within the food market. So the health of the problem is remaining as the number one global issue, and also the financial pressures that is putting within the value chains are leading to an increase in eco-friendly behaviors. So this main challenge is acknowledging that there are various commitments that consumers are willing to make, including having a larger support for products that have recycled ingredients. In a different scope, there's a plant-based that is called Unlocking a New Narrative. So the green gastronomy is expected to blossom and have a main impact into the sector, which is giving brands a significant opportunity to diversify their catalogs as well as expand. So consumers are demanding to see more improvements, both in taste and texture in these plant-based products, but there is a huge appetite for new culinary creativity and international flavor profiles. And lastly, there's a positively imperfect way of approaching this market. So consumers are not seeking for perfection when they're looking for sustainability. And so upcycled products and ingredients have essentially a great acceptance between consumers who are looking for these less than perfect and waste stream products that are still perfect in terms of fitting this new concept of a circular economy. So this has supported this continued growth in the upcycle launches. According to our database, the Nova Market Insights database, this market of upcycled food and beverage is projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 4.6% from $52 billion US dollars in 2022 to $83.26 billion US dollars in 2032. So although these new product developments in upcycled or rescued foods remain a relative niche, the launch numbers are continuing to increase in a double-digit year-on-year rates. So this use of upcycled ingredients in both food and beverage launches is increasing globally and is featuring a plus 24% year-on-year growth if you compare July 2021 and June 2022 and July 2022 and June 2023 launches. This is especially true in bakery, that is the leading category during this period, and also the top positionings of the global product launch tracked with the upcycled ingredients are GMO-free, which is about 45% of these launches, gluten-free with 41%, and also there's a link between upcycled launches and ethical packaging. So as you can see, the compound annual growth is still going to exponentially grow in the upcoming 10 years. This leads us to saying that a third of all upcycled food and beverage launches are these bakery products, as we just established. So this is, as you can see, one of the main top launches, with which makes about 33% of all upcycled products that are being launched into the market, followed by confectionery, which is also linked to the bakery industry. And then we can also see that soft drinks, snacks, and desserts are also some of the categories that are more flexible enough to integrate these upcycled ingredients. This is all because snacking is currently the way to grow this niche within the food and beverage space, especially because the younger generation of consumers have a stronger focus on sustainability and looking after themselves as well. So this snacking sector has the added advantage of being able to utilize multiple food waste streams. And as well, upcycling can be a guilt-free aspect into indulging in these treats that are linked into snacking. So, for example, we can see here upcycled crackers made with rescued spent brewers grain. You can see that they have different profile flavors, and they all fall into this sustainable but also indulgent and innovative kind of bakery products. And therefore, they're all natural ingredients blended with these upcycled ingredients, and therefore this makes for the perfect match between this new circular economy with all the global trends that are impacting health and what the consumers are looking for in terms of sustainability. If you can as well see here that these upcycled food are spotted across different kinds of categories. We can see here bakery, as we just mentioned, but there's also confectionery, soft drinks, and desserts and ice cream that are all being crafted with upcycled ingredients. For example, if you see here, the bakery product has upcycled salt peanut butter, which is a perfect way to integrate the scraps of the peanuts within these bakery products. There's also confectionery with a certification of upcycled ingredients, which has a very strong sustainability mission. For example, if we take into account that the chocolate industry wastes around 70% of the cocoa pods using the beans only, this brand, which is called Blue Stripe, upcycles the whole cocoa, which means that they are using the shell, the fruit, and the beans, which helps making a more circular process and as well reducing food waste. As for the soft drinks, they also are a perfect vessel to include these upcycled ingredients. In this case, for example, we have here a molecular cold brew that does not use coffee beans, and therefore they use 94% less water, less CO2 emissions, as well as a 98% upcycled ingredients within the composition. And lastly, within the desserts and ice cream, we can also see here a different example where they are crafted with sustainable and upcycled ingredients, although they're not really single-handedly picking up which ones of these there are. But this is still a great way of reintroducing this, for example, the ugly or less appealing looking apples into these kind of products. For example, beer is another perfect vessel for upcycled ingredients. We already saw in a previous example how the brews can be used into crackers, but in this case, we can see that these are made with upcycled Kellogg's cornflakes, which is also a great way to reduce waste within the cereal supply chain. As well as for different kind of drink, there's dairy alternatives. They're also, in this case, we have an example with a certification of being upcycled. This one, if you can see, the upcycled materials are in the carton of chocolate barley milk that has nearly 100 gallons of water that has been saved with this integration of this approach of being more circular and more upcycled. And lastly, in pet food, we can also see how upcycled ingredients are being used. For example, in this case, we've got this imperfect kind of potato chips that are treats for dogs that are made with at least 40% of upcycled ingredients. And so this is a great way to introduce the waste that is being produced in the making of human food into pet food, which is also helping to broaden up the horizons for upcycled foods. So this upcycle movement, as we've seen, has lots of potential, but is also key to intertwine it with the consumer. The consumer appeal in this sense is one of the most important factors to continue this trend and to make it more accessible into the consumers. So food waste is, of course, one of the major consumer concerns and is one of the most popular ways of them to act on the environmental concerns, because it is simple acts that you can do in your own home, for example, by recycling, upcycling, and repurposing. So according to Innova surveys, the top 3 actions that consumers are currently taking to manage their food waste are by using their leftovers, which is an action that 39% of consumers are said to be doing, to cook or prepare smaller portions, which is something that 37% of them are saying they're doing, and also freezing more, which is an act that 36% of consumers are picking up on. So, for example, there's been a survey that has different answers on I am taking more actions in order to. And so in the United States, they are taking more actions to minimize their food waste, to repurpose, upcycle, and recycle their own products, and also by being more self-sufficient, which means growing their own fruits and vegetables and keeping their own gardens. In Canada, with the same prompt, most consumers are also saying that they want to minimize food waste, repurpose, upcycle, and recycle products, but they're also choosing local products and services to lower their imprint on the carbon footprint. And on a global scale, the first one of the actions that consumers are taking is also minimizing food waste. It's also to recycle, upcycle, and repurpose their products. And they're also choosing products with environmentally friendly or less packaging, which is also a trend that we've seen before. So more than 1 in 5 consumers almost always are shopping with the environment in mind. For example, in an average of 11 countries in 2023, they've said that during the past year, they've consciously chose food based on their environmental impact. On 36% of them have said that they're doing so in most of times, and 32% sometimes. So that means that 9 in 10 consumers, at least sometimes, are considering the environment and the impact that they've got when they're choosing their food. And so it is a clear thing that sustainability is no longer just a trend, it's now a norm. And so the concerns with the environment may not yet be the primary purchasing driving consumer decisions, but it can be a powerful tiebreaker when consumers are needing to choose between 2 different options. So in this context, choosing upcycled food strategies are one of the main differentiating factors for companies. And therefore, we can see that top ingredients and positions that are being used to claim the attention of the consumers. On the first hand, we see the top 5 ingredients that, as a percentage, are now in the food and beverage launches that are tracked with upcycled ingredients. We can see that cocoa butter and cocoa are using one of the main upcycled ingredients, as we've seen before. There's lots of food waste within the chocolate value chain, and therefore the cocoa butter, the cocoa shell, and just in general chocolate are making for 3 out of the 5 more used ingredients within the upcycled movement. The other ones are wheat flour and coconut. And then on the other hand, we've seen that the top 5 position is that the new food and beverage launches that are being tracked that have upcycled ingredients are claiming to be GMO-free, gluten-free, that are an ethical packaging, or they are ethical within the environment, and also a vegan claiming. So this all paints the picture of how we have to market these products in order to appeal to the consumer and create a greater niche for the upcycled environment. So these upcycling trends are becoming a business, and so with the rise of the circular economy worldwide and the use of byproducts that were previously considered waste but now are recovered as ingredients, provides an opportunity for manufacturers to explore and further expand their portfolios, and also to capitalize on waste, and also for storytelling. So in general, the major brands in the upcycling arena are still smaller firms that are a niche specialist in this area of upcycling expertise. So consumers tend to have a greater trust in smaller operations, especially if they have bold claims from larger companies that are often met with more skepticism. So in fact, to date, the large multinational or the more mainstream brands are still largely absent from this conversation in this market. So this could change in the future, especially because for now, the apparent reluctance to explore these opportunities could be due to the economies of scale. Within larger firms, is very difficult to source the quantities that they need from upcycled ingredients to build a major brand and to have sufficient products to suffice for the demand in the international distribution. But there are certain areas in which companies can reuse their own spent resources. However, medium-sized and larger firms could adapt to this process, and they are certainly not excluded from this future marketplace. So we have to take into account that, as well as what we call quote-unquote ugly fruits and vegetables, the upcyclers are also exploring other unwanted ingredients or byproducts. For example, rapeseed, wheat bran, or bruised grain and apple pommes. And so if you're interested in seeing how these byproducts can be used in order to be upcycled and to create a more resilient food value chain, you can, of course, check our website, the Be Resilient Skills Hub, to know more about these different ways of working with these byproducts. We have to take a look into how the companies are feeling within this upcycling movement. 29% of companies want to be more proactive with the management of food waste. So waste control is the third most important environmental action that is demanded by the consumers, and that acts on companies to promote more sustainable trends and more sustainable business models. So when asked what would you most like to see brands doing to help their environmental or social causes. 29% of all consumers have said that improving their waste management and reducing waste when manufacturing is one of the top things that they would like to see when they're consuming their products. So this goes hand in hand with sustainable packaging, with reducing the carbon footprint, with sourcing locally, with sustainable food and growing practices. But it's also linked with the concerns for health and the nutritional standards that can also be seen with the raising health and nutrition movements that are aligned with, for example, GMO-free, gluten-free, that we've seen before, that are used as claims to sell these upcycled ingredients. So manufacturers are providing more sustainable choices for the consumers, as well as offering a wider variety in their portfolios. We can see here some examples and same case studies. For example, Renewal's Meal, they have a soy pulp boosted vegan ice cream. They are using an upcycled ingredient supplier. This Renewal Meal has teamed up with a smaller batch ice cream company that's called Salt and Straw, and they've created an upcycled vegan ice cream flavor. This is within the frozen dessert niche, and it's made with dark chocolate brownie mix. And they have also salted caramel frosting and dark chocolate brownie cupcakes, which are crumbled into this fleur de sal, which is a spiked oat ice cream. So this is a limited edition, and they're really creating these synergies to take profit and to really have a way of using this upcycled vegan ice cream flavor. On the right, we can also see how Lisa Evil is producing an upcycled watermelon pumpkin seed for their snacks. These Sun Poppers are one of their newest snacks lines, and they are made with upcycled watermelon and pumpkin seeds that are puffed. And so they're using 3 grams of plant-based protein per serving, and they have a grain-free snack that provides more nourishment in the form of flavors. And they have, for example, Himalayan pig salt or sour cream and onion. So there's a way of introducing these upcycled products, and also tapping into different niches, like, for example, being vegan or being grain-free, which is also a growing incentive for consumers and derived up sales. There are also some trends within the labeling of these upcycled products. There's a consumer awareness. There's an upcycled certified logo. And the consumer acceptance is one of the main challenges of these upcycled ingredients in foods, especially because usually consumers are more reluctant to buy upcycled foods because they fear that the quality of the ingredients that are being used may be lesser than the non-upcycled ones. So there is an interest to spike this newfound consumer awareness, to drive this decision to buy. And so to launch the categories, they have their first third-party verified certification mark, which is called the Upcycled Certified. And this helps consumers to easily spot and recognize which foods and beverage have these upcycled products, and so that they are more climate-friendly products. These have been developed by the Upcycled Food Association, and this mark highlights that they have upcycled ingredients and products that have been procured with a surplus food or food byproducts from the manufacturing, and so it's easily verifiable that the supply chain have a positive impact on the environment. So right now they have around 92 upcycled certified companies, more than 317 upcycled products, and 164 ingredients that are all upcycled certified. So this can drive up the interest in environmental labels. We've already seen that consumers are using them to drive up their approach to buying. For example, 50% of consumers on a global scale are saying that they pay attention to these environmental labels on their packaging, and 61% of them are saying that when they notice a label that has to do with environment and the upkeep of more natural ingredients, they try to understand what it means. And so there is a niche for this upcycled certified to grow and to become one of the main driver factors for when consumers are buying their products. In this moment, the United States is one of the most developed countries that has this choice of upcycled ingredients. The consumer awareness of upcycled food is likely to continue growing, especially because this association launched this upcycle certified in the US first in 2021, and then they followed in Canada in 2022. So in 2022, the United States was responsible for 53% of the global food and beverage launches within the upcycling references, with a compound annual growth rate of more than 44%. We see especially how these products have been introduced within the claims. As you can see first here, these first potato chips contain upcycled sweet potatoes. Then we see that they also have upcycled earned corn flour, as well as chocolate into this cocoa water, especially because, as we already said, the chocolate industry wastes around 70% of the cocoa that is being used, because they only actually milk out the beans. So by using the whole cocoa, the shell, the fruit, and the beans, they are really reducing the environmental impact. We also see that Reef, which is a drink brand, has released the America's first certified carbon neutral drink. They also have the upcycled certification, and this is a US-based cold brew coffee that has unveiled a plant-based beverage that is made from upcycled Casper Reef Energy, which is a carbon neutral certified within this carbon-free product certification program, and it is the first in the region to have won this distinction. You can see here the use of this upcycled certified logo, which is mostly centered in the United States. We see it here with this regrained upcycled food label, carrot cake mix, which is a carrot cake that is actually certified by the Upcycled Association, and they are also a B corporation. Then we have as well the Kroger Simple Truth free from plant-based dark chocolate brownie mix that is also upcycled, especially within the soy processing. And so it is also flagged as being carbon neutral. And lastly, we've got Dina's Real Banana Bites with dark chocolate that also has been certified as an upcycled food. And these are chocolate-coated bites that are made with real banana, which has been rescued and upcycled from Ecuador. There's also an upcycled kind of identification that is not the certification that we've just seen, but this is the upcycled arrows and circular economy trends claims that are also tapping on this trend. We can see here this Austrian launch, which is a plant-based non-dairy drink that comes from rescued apricot kernels, and so it carries a circular economy claim. We can also see in Belgium this Cabos dark chocolate with cocoa fruit filling. These are boxed chocolates that have dark chocolate with a filling of upcycled cocoa fruit as an element of this cocoa processing that's traditionally discarded. And finally, we also see this United States lemon ginger flavored energy drink that is made with upcycled coffee fruit with a Casper, and which delivers this natural caffeine. So as you can see, these three examples do not have the certification, but they all use these three arrows to signify that they are upcycled and use it as a claim to drive up the consumer's interests. So this upcycle trend is obviously very important within the food and beverage industry, but is also a trend within all sectors. This food waste can also be used to make other products beyond food. And so in this section, we can also see there's applications in textile, cosmetics, and personal care. This food waste can be used in these different industries. And for example, within the textile, we can see the Peel Lab, which is sustainable, ethical, and also incorporates premium craftsmanship. This is a Japanese-based startup which started in 2021, and they upcycle plant and food waste to make plant-based leather. So the company products include all these bags and wallets that are made from apple and pineapple leather, as well as yoga mats that are made from bamboo leather. So this development of new alternative leathers that are made of what would have been waste and would have been thrown away. They're using these fruit peels from juice factories to create a new product and new applications for this food waste. We can also see this trend of using and incorporating upcycled ingredients from food production into beauty and personal care. For example, in cosmetic products, we've seen how upcycled avocado seeds can be replacing what are banned microplastic bits in cosmetics. So, for example, if you ground avocado seeds, they are for the first time being upcycled, and they are added to a range of cosmetics to replace the currently banned and environmentally harmful plastic microbeads that were previously being used. For example, the UK-based Westphalia fruit business are supplying these ground avocado seeds to the beauty brand Dr. Kraft after 3 years of R&D and product testing. So this avocado seed is being used in body scrubs to substitute these microplastic beads that were being used before. We also see similar developments in personal care ingredients. For example, BASF and Ricobon are partnering to upcycle personal care emollients from bio-waste. For example, they are leveraging this technology for converting bio-waste into unique emollient chemical structures for personal care formulations. The Ricobon's technology manufactures these emollients with clear look and odorless scent. And so we can see how this food waste can go beyond the food and beverage industry. So as we've seen, the upcycle movement is a growing trend. And so although we've seen some examples, it is interesting to look at the latest innovations by taking a look into different case studies. We can see, for example, the case study of Brewers Food, which are using Brewers grain for making chips and making new products. This Brewers grain is spent grain, which is mainly barley, that is resulting from the brewing process. This brewing industry is producing vast quantities of spent grain this year, and traditionally, this has gone into the feed industry or into landfill. So the upcycling movement has been quick to tap into this significant waste resource and has been one of the most important upcycled ingredients that are being used in the food industry to date. So some companies, for example, Regrained and Anheuser-Busch Evergrain, have been established to specially develop these protein and fiber ingredients from spent barley grains. So we can see here Brewers Foods, which was founded in 2017 by Kyle Ferruscano, who is a chef, that decided that he had to do something with Brewers grain when he saw the very important quantities that were being discarded by a broken brewery. So by trial and error, he developed multiple recipes before settling on a baked pita chips, flatbreads, and now cookies. So these baked pita chips were first introduced in 2021, then was followed by the flatbreads in 2022, and now sweet cookies are the most recent addition. So we see here the huge potential for growth within this business. We can also see how Still Good went from local waste to a bakery product. This is a Montreal-based startup that is specializing in the upcycled of food space, and they offer cookies, flour, granola, who are all produced with spent barley, oat, and wheat flour that come from beer production. So on their website, they highlight how their transformation process allows to upcycle all sorts of byproducts, such as spent grain, fruits, and vegetable pulps, and they also transform residues from production of coffee, cider, and bakery products. So Still Good is a zero-waste Canadian company that was founded in 2018, who has a mission to reduce food waste by upcycling ingredients from local businesses to make delicious products. They have a circular approach and have been collecting cereals that are used in the Street Reserves, which is a brewing company who is transforming, and now they are transforming them into flour, which is then also used to create new dishes that are available in the Street Reserves menu. We can see here some example of the products that they have developed with this upcycling mindset. They have an all-purpose flour, who is the most recent addition to their catalog, but they also have different cookies made with these upcycled ingredients. They're mostly made with spent grains, sunflower meal, with all-purpose flour, which is rich in fiber and protein, and all these ingredients are being repurposed. We have a different company that is called Only Meat, which is a plant-based meat from upcycled grains. There are relevant cosmetic specifications that concern the physical appearance of foods, and this contributes a lot to the food waste across different supply chain levels. Following the upcycled movement, many companies are starting to take into account and to incorporate the discarded edibles in different processes. So within this context, this Korean company called Sikyoin launched Only Meat, which is the first food tech startup in Korea to develop, manufacture, and sell plant-based meat that has been created with technology that reproduces the texture, the juiciness, the taste, and the flavor of meat. And in order to do so, they use what has been, quote unquote, called the ugly agricultural products that are usually thrown away because they don't present very well, because, for example, they are smaller in size, or they have scratches, or they have an uneven color. So this brand upcycles the excess grains, like, for example, from rice and wheat, and turns them into these deliciously vegan meat products that are designed for a global cuisine. They first introduced a plant-based Korean barbecue, and now they are also offering different variations, for example, a gochujang plant-based pulled pork or smoked chili plant-based jerky that are all made from this waste. They launched in Amazon in 2022, and they were made from non-GMO soy protein, wheat, and other vegetable ingredients. And this jerky is being created with the proprietary texturing and technology that features a meat-like chewy texture. We have this different case study, which is called Noldam. They upcycle chickpeas. This is a brand managed by the Korean food startup Join & Join, and their mission is to reduce the environmental problems by recycling discarded chickpeas. They extract the protein from these chickpeas to make aquafaba, which is a byproduct solution that is resulting from the process of canning and boiling these chickpeas or other legumes with water, and they produce a significant amount of waste. So these byproducts take the form of pulp and are used by this Noldam company to create different products. As you can see here, their process begins with this boiling process. They create the aquafaba. They process all this residue and use this raw material. So, for example, we can see here their different products, which are vegan, for example, brownie bites. And their main claims are that they are using these upcycled products and that they are suitable as well for vegans. We can take a look as well within the upcycled beverages. The Crush Group that has been found in 2019 is a firm that has been working with different restaurants and hotels to turn leftover bread into beer making ingredients that are being used for upcycled food waste, like peels, into non-alcoholic beverages. So they have two different lines, the Made by Crust and Crop. Made by Crust is their line of sustainable artisan beers that are made from surplus bread and other surplus ingredients from restaurants and hotel partners. As you can see, they make different kinds of beers in Singapore. And then they also have Crop, which is their line of non-alcoholic beverages, which include their natural essence sparkling food water, which is made from fruit waste and fruit loss. And you can see, for example, different flavors like pineapple tart, rose lemonade, or mulberry lime. So as you've seen, there is a lot of growing potential within the upcycling movement. There are very interesting case studies that you can replicate and that you have to take into account into seeing the viability of introducing this circular economy approach into the management of global value chains within the food and beverage industry. More and more, we are seeing how consumers are valuing and are even willing to pay a premium for this kind of products that are seen as more environmentally friendly, more conscious, as well as healthier. So there is a growing potential, and there is as well a niche market that is going to really grow in the upcoming years. We also have to take into account that the European market, as well as the Asian market, the African market, the Latin America market, are still quite untapped, as this trend has been growing, especially in the United States and Canada. So there's still a lot to learn, but there's a growing potential that cannot be negated, and that will help to ensure the sustainability of our food and beverage industry in the long run. So the main takeaways are to create synergies with different partners in order to acquire these byproducts. And then there's a lot of trial and error, as well as a lot of R&D investment that has to go into it in order to improve this usage of byproducts. Next week, on Wednesday 4, we will have the second webinar of this webinar cycle, and we will focus on the different target countries of the Brazilian network, and we will study the positioning and the growth opportunities of upcycled ingredients and products in these markets. Thank you all for joining today's webinar, and we will see you on next Wednesday. Thank you.